Ah, that's me. It's me. It's Sarah G, legit witch MD, and it is Tarot Tuesday, which means that the witch is in tonight. It's that time of day where we are going to talk about all the things witchy, not witchy, kind of witchy, all the things. And I do have a co host tonight, which I'm really excited about. Thank you for joining me, King Michael.
Hey, I don't know why I'm on this side. I'm not trying to put myself on this side.
Why? It's fine. You can be
I
whatever
just
side you want to be.
I like this side then. Okay.
Okay.
How are you
You
tonight,
can have
Sarah?
that. I'm fantastic.
Yeah.
Living the dream on this
Tarot Tuesday, isn't
fantastically.
it?
It is Tarot Tuesday. It is. And so the guest that we have, she is very well versed in all things metaphysical. She's been in business for 23 years in all different kinds of facets. This is Angela O'Loughlin.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Angela.
Hi. And she is from A Better Place Massage and Mediumship. I love that. Better Place. Because that's where you're trying to get us to be, right?
Right. And hopefully when you leave, you're in one.
Exactly.
Meaning
Better place than
on the body massage end. But when you're seeking those in a better place, you can come to me as well.
I like that.
I didn't understand it, but that was I'm gonna hang in there.
Okay. That's all. Just hang on. Hang on. So it is Tarot Tuesday, which means that I do have a card for us. We are going to interpret this card as we feel that, there are certain things we should talk about within the card, whether it's ideology, whether that is colors, pictures, you name it, numbers. Mike, we love numbers. So I did this off camera. I did pull that Two of Swords here. Okay. So what do you feel about it, and Angela?
What direction?
Yeah, or whatever. What do you feel about it? Anything that you want to talk about within this card?
Get a closer look. So Two of Swords. Isn't that one? It speaks to some, on general terms, like imbalance to money, overextending oneself, that thing. I see two swords going into, I can't see the card. Oh, the person.
Sorry.
It's self-sabotage, as I see it. He's got all the armor there, but he's kind of stabbing himself, right? I don't see other on those swords,
I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah, she is sitting on a rock in the middle of nowhere, blindly sitting there, defending both sides. The swords, that's actually the handle that's next to her chest, and those are the blade edges at the top. So she's blindly holding two swords to guard both sides in the middle of nowhere. So she's sticking up for whatever she believes in, no matter what.
Grab my card so I can have it for reference.
You got it. We are all about reference.
Yeah, the actual visual of that. So, Two of Swords. Hold on. I'm grabbing it out of my deck.
You got it. So let me just tell you what I feel about it. I think that you are both right in, there's no wrong answers, especially with intuitive reading. There's no wrong answers. It's how you feel about it. Your thing might resonate with somebody and it might totally be off the mark. But twos are important. Mike, why are twos important? Because it does show both sides of a situation, right? Good, bad, yes, no, male, female, whatever you want to look at it. There's always
nothing
two sides
can be
of the
cut so
situation.
thin where there's only one side.
Yeah.
Right. So there's two sides of the story, and we don't always have to know exactly what one side has against the other. We kind of have to go with what we feel in our gut. So that's why she's blinded, right? She's like, she doesn't see all of the things, he or she doesn't see all of the things, but we have to kind of make a decision based on what we know of that situation to be. So sometimes it can be self-sabotage because you don't know all of the story before you make a choice. But sometimes it's also in the best interest that you're doing this, right? So you're both right in this approach. Yep.
Ooh, look at that
exactly.
card.
Ooh,
shiny.
That's
a beautiful
shiny.
card.
Yeah. It's deck. And you onto that Art Nouveau deck. But
I love that one.
Yeah, it's so funny because I see that sort of like, I see there's a blind that's like you're saying, and now I'm seeing the card. It's so funny how I forget I got to look. I'm a very visual card reader. So I do look at colors to focus the layout, and then intuit. Every time I look at a card, it's different to me. So I look at that, and that she's protecting herself as well.
Yeah.
And even though she can't see fully, she's going on faith. And so, and you're right, Mike, the cards aren't in her, the swords aren't in her. That's what I was seeing when I was trying to look.
Well, your card holds it better than Sarah's card. Sarah's
Yeah,
card,
my card's
close together. Yours, you can really see the woman crossing her arms. See how Sarah's is like almost meeting? You can't really.
Yeah, I can't really see it too well.
Whereas yours is like this.
But the sacred feminine is represented here. The moon and the intuition. It is a woman, but I see the water, but she's not in it. So she's not overwhelmed emotionally by what's happening. Is how I would see it. Also, at some point, she's got to do something with those swords.
Yeah. And, with the idea that we have to make a choice, right? It's an action. Choices are actions, whether we step in one direction or whether we step back or whatever. It's always a choice. And sometimes you have to look at things and say, that's fine. No one gets it. Sometimes you have to look at that and say, I actually have to cut something off to get there. I have to do something in order to move forward. So, like we talked about in Tarot Tuesday, sometimes the sentiment of that card will come up throughout what we talk about today. So we're going to put that aside for a second. We're going to talk a little bit about Angela. So 23 years in this environment. How did you start?
Well, it's actually my whole life, and I'm 52. I'll be 53 in April. But my whole life since I can remember, I've seen apparitions, dead people. I didn't know what to do, but I certainly saw them. And it wasn't until I was about 27 that I went into massage school, but to learn that craft. But at 19, it's kind of a funny story. My grandmother read tea leaves, and she had passed away. Her house was being sold. I'm in her house, and I was living there for a short period of time to take care of her. I was a nurse's aide at one time. So I saw a full apparition, which made me hit the deck and pull a blanket over my head and say, what do you want me to do with this? The doorbell rang. A friend was there and said, hey, there's this Medium's Day at this Greater Boston Church of Spiritualism in Watertown at the time. Do you want to go? I was like, okay. So when we went there, she got a reading, and her grandparents came through. She came out with tears. She was like, oh, and I went to this woman who said that I had a spirit guide named White Feather, and he rode a painted pony. And I'm like, oh, for Mike, you'd appreciate this, for Pete's sake. Seriously?
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course, a native guide. You can't prove that. I was like, okay, goodbye. And so we went out, and she's like, what? When I told my friend that I had this native spirit guide and didn't connect to any family members, but she goes, let's go to the New Age gift shop in Belmont that was closing. When we walked in, floor to ceiling CD, one was sticking out. I went over there and I pulled that one out, and this guy was named White Feather, the spirit guide. There was a single white feather on the cover, and it was called Feather on the Breath of God by Erin Jacobson. It was purely instrumental, but I was like, no way. Well, that night, the friend and I went to see a band called Cake at the Orpheum. Okay.
Love Cake.
Okay.
Wrong jacket. Oh, sorry.
I'd never seen Cake. I wasn't even familiar with them. But when we went to the Orpheum, we parked in the underground parking garages under the Boston Common and walked over. I unfortunately do remember there was McDonald's trash in the entryway outside of that exit portal to the underground parking garage. After the show, I was lost. I came out and I was like, I don't remember where the entrance was. And my friend, being clever and a skeptic, said, why don't you ask
White feather.
White Feather? And I went, brilliant. Let's test this theory. I said, okay, White Feather. She swears to this day, if she wasn't there, she would not believe me. And I don't blame anybody who doesn't. I swear I wouldn't believe it if I wasn't there. A single white feather was on the ground, on the sidewalk. I go, listen, do you see any dead birds? Do you see any living birds? Do you hear any birds? None. Went over, stood at that feather and said, okay, White Feather, what now? Like 20 more feet, there was another one. Again, didn't see it before. There were no other ones. So there were 2 on one side, 2 on another side, and there were no more. There were 4. And I relate that to the number of angels.
Sounds like a pigeon that shot.
What shot?
A pigeon.
A pigeon.
There's white feathers everywhere. This is amazing.
It was a white feather, and there were only 4 of them. But it stopped right outside the entrance to where the McDonald's trash was. And stuff like that has happened. Like I went to a lovely lady named Anne who wanted to network with me. I had no idea what she did. We met at Starbucks. Now, occasionally birds can get inside of a coffee shop, but this was the corner Route 30 and 27 in Wayland. There were no birds inside there. But as I approached her table to meet her, from the ceiling, a single white feather floated down and landed in the middle of us. She looked up at me and goes, White Feather? I go, shut up. Like, and then I go, wait a minute. Like, I wasn't sure if she meant God. And she goes, you have the same God? I was like, shut up. But anyway, so
wow,
stuff like that happens all the time. But I've known since I was a kid, but it wasn't until 19 that I started learning to educate myself around this, how to understand the symbolism, the things that what I was drawn or called to, and what to do with it. How can I help? And then I started to develop that. It wasn't until actually about 10 years ago that, so I've been in business over 25 years, but about 10 years ago, I actually hung a tile and changed my business name to A Better Place Massage Therapy, to A Better Place Massage and Mediumship. The happy accident that it was named that because I went to go serve to do chair massage at a fundraiser, and they wrote on the board massage and mediumship because they had mediums. I already was getting mediumship during massage, but I didn't know. And I read that and I was like, okay, it is okay. So I opened it right up in my business. So
that's awesome. So I have to say that because you started also with the idea of when you were a nurse assistant and having that healing modality already kind of ingrained within you, it makes a lot of sense why you would kind of progress into massage therapy and then mediumship on top of it. Like usually these things go hand in hand.
Well, I worked a lot with elder and care, child care. So I was working as a child care nanny.
He's like having a
no, I get a bunch of questions and she's answering them as I ask. Like,
oh,
I'll wait till she finishes this, but
go ahead. Okay.
As a nanny, and the guy was a lobbyist, and he had seen me help his colicky child be better, and he was about a 1-year-old, and so the husband had said, you know, you should be doing this for a living. I was like, what? He goes, massage. I said, well, I had been thinking about equine massage because I've always worked in the world of horses too. That was my first job, was mucking horse stalls, and so he was like, no. He came home with the #1 school in the country, which is Bancroft in Worcester, and he's like, you need to fill this out, and I got accepted like that, and it just kind of 7 when I did that. So I've been in massage industry 25 years.
Jeez.
That's a lot.
That's a classic, right? When it's a car, 25 years makes it a classic.
They say that 5 years is the average career expectancy. So
yeah.
5 times outlive that. But
you get strong hands, strong wrists, strong forearms.
Yes.
Sarah, can I ask a couple quick questions? Do you mind?
Go ahead. Although, I don't know if you can hear this, Angela, like you sound a little tinny.
He's buzzy to me, but not.
Yeah, you're buzzy. Yeah. It's always a work in progress here. at legitpodcast.com.
But Sarah,
We're always working it.
You're buzzing now?
Better serve.
Am I buzzing?
We're always
right.
working to better serve you.
Okay.
Hi, JK.
So first off, luckily the guide was named White Feather.
right.
It could have ended up so much worse because I keep putting different names down and it just doesn't work. Secondly, been doing paranormal podcasting for about 3+ years, and here's what always goes together: nurses, massage, medium, hospice.
Interesting.
That's always seems like this. Those people all kind of hover around those things, and they like kids and animals. Let's see. Bill. Oh, by the way, did you like the song "Build a Little Birdhouse in Your Soul" by
I do.
You know the song, right? Yeah, that's what
Of course I
I
do.
thought of there. By the way, we opened for Cake
You did.
in Massachusetts. So I know we played that place, but I don't know if that was the show, but that would be hilarious if it was. And then finally, what did I write? Oh, Worcester's a pit. And then I wrote, I was thinking you were going to end up saying White Feather Massage. Like, I don't know why I thought that was like almost like not the punchline, but the ending of that story. And then you were like, everything's White Feather, White Feather, White Feather, White Feather. And you were like, I went with this name. And I was like, why didn't you go with? But then I thought about it, and White Feather Massage does not go. Doesn't go.
Kind of different. That's a different massage.
That's a Cinemax, 3:30 in the morning.
Massage.
And I'm on like Blue Cross Blue Shield's Whole Health Network as a preferred provider in Natick, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So I do deep tissue injury prevention, recovery, like legit. But yeah, there's just like mediums. There's always this you're a devil worshiper. As a massage therapist, you do happy endings. I'm like, oh my God. There's always.
I know, it's like from one extreme to the next.
There's always, it's not a fight because I stand true in my knowing of who I am, and those around me figure it out soon enough.
I think that's a horrible misconception, quite honestly, because like I said, I was in massage therapy class, and I had a couple of massage, or I had to give massages, and happy endings never happen unless there's enough money. I'm joking. Those are just jokes.
Wow, then again.
Honestly, the energy that I attract, I feel like in 25 years of doing massage, I can count on one hand the approach I've had, because I just lay it down thick and hard for people to know that you want a legit massage, I can help you be in a better place. But I'm not that you're, I'm not that happy ending person.
Yeah, no, I like to be broken. Like I want someone to grab my arm and crush it and push things and snap stuff. I'm like a sports massage type of guy. That's what I want. Like,
not things per se, but but some of my clients walk away like, I paid for this. Like, holy shit, I feel like I just got beat up. But at the same time, they call me and they're like, oh my God, I can move, I can breathe, I can.
And then they look and you're like, yeah, I beat you up, and you feel better. So
well, and the thing is lightly, because I really don't beat them up. I always work within people's tolerance for pain. I'm not going to send you crying. I'm not going to make you cry. I don't make you bleed, or I don't make you bruise, or any of that stuff. But it does sound terrible, but it's not like that.
It's their fault. It's actually their fault, not yours. They're out of shape, and you're just moving something that hasn't moved in years, and now it hurts. That's what it is with me. I'm old. Someone moves something, I'm like, I turn my neck and I can hurt it. So,
the question is, why does my lower back hurt? I said, I don't know. I'm not following you around. I said, what'd you do? Well, I'm not like I'm doing anything different. I was doing laundry. I went to yoga. I jogged. And I said, well, all the collective of things can, people tweak their backs pulling wet laundry out of the washing machine.
They sleep wrong. You sleep wrong. And you're like, oh my.
Right? There's always, as it doesn't even have to be that you're aging. I have kids, like parents send their kids to me, they're in high school, who are professional violinists or swimmers or football players, and they're just overtaxing their bodies, and they just need help. When they find out like what I do on the spiritual end, I remember a woman coming to me for a massage reading one time. She'd scheduled it in advance. I'd never met her. She shows up, sits across the table from me, and I'm about to begin. And she goes, wait. And I'm like, what? And she goes, because she startled me. I'm like, what? She goes, do you believe in God? And I'm like, I believe in spirit world, my loved ones. I believe in a higher power. Yes, I guess I believe in God, like in your terms. Like, do you? And she's like, oh, yes. And I said, okay. And I paused for a second. I'm like, are we good? She goes, I guess we're good. Okay. And but the things people ask me is so funny on that end.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
that's
All the time.
I had a guy, this one still trips me up. This guy, he's a hoot and I love him. He came to me protesting that he does not speak a lick of English. And he was speaking Italian, and he brought an Italian interpreter with him, so she could tell me what he was saying. And there's a lot of because I don't understand what their language is, and I knew there was more to what she was telling me, but and she seemed a little frustrated with him. But at one point, now I will tell you, Mike, symbolically, in my mind's eye, when I'm doing a reading, I see symbols that represent things. I have a whole Rolodex of understanding to that. And
Rolodex, that's an old term.
Yes.
Wow.
I know, right? And so a tree is a symbol of a mother, but a tree in a pot is a movable parent. That means they're like a parent to many people, not just their own, right? So I see a potted tree, but sometimes a potted tree is just a potted tree, right? So I just tell them what I see. And so I said, I see this potted tree. I know what it could mean to me, but it feels like it's just a potted tree, so I got to give you that. And I tried to move forward. Well, the spirit loved one was in my ear, like, you need to straighten him out. I am not moving forward until he acknowledges this potted tree. So I told the woman, she interpreted it. He turns to me, his arms are crossed the whole time. You know that energy. And he just goes like that. Just and I'm like, is that good enough? I asked her, and she said, he needs to use his voice. So I heard in Italian, yes, and so I'm like, okay, good enough for me. We moved on. And at the end, this gentleman stood up, leaned across the table, took my hand with both of his hands in perfect English, said, that was amazing. You brought through my wife. And I was just like, you son of a bitch. I said, that test, wasn't it? He goes, yeah, I didn't want to give you anything. And I thought if I could communicate with you, that you might ask me questions, which is such a thing with mediums that people get flubbed up with, is that, the medium shouldn't be asking you anything, except for
All the time.
want a card reading? Do you want to talk to your loved ones? I mean, that's pretty much it, and do you understand? Because I'll keep asking the spirit one, like, tell me what you mean by that, show me another way.
Right. I feel the same way. People will ask, are you asking me that for whatever reason? I'm like, no, because I want to clarify what I'm supposed to say to you and how it makes sense to you. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm trying to figure it out that makes the best sense for you.
Yeah.
Do you have a sister? I don't care if you have one. Do you have one? Because they're telling me you do. So if you have one, we're going to talk about it. Right?
Yeah. And I think clarify in that way, like, I am seeing a sister in your energy, and I just need to know if you can understand that, because if not, we need. So one time I was doing a massage, Mike, you'll appreciate this. I was doing a massage on a client, and
it wasn't a happy ending.
it was a woman, actually, which would be great for one of Mike's, whatever. But anyway, so I just said, hey, I'm a medium. Someone, can I give you some information? And the woman's like, yeah, whatever. So I brought through her grandmother, but her grandmother was telling her that there was going to be another baby. She goes, oh, husband and I are done. And I said, well, I'm just delivering the mail. Let me tell you what she's going to say to you. And she said, okay. So I said, well, you have a sister. She feels like, she goes, I don't have a sister. I go, I'm telling you, she feels like a sister, like your best sister, like she's telling you there's a woman beside you like a sister. I said, you'll figure it out later. That's just how it feels to me. And I said, but she's going to get pregnant very close to the same time you are. These two are going to be raised together like siblings, but you need to know that there's going to be a medical issue with your sister's child. That's pretty serious. But not only will it survive, it will thrive. And these two will grow up together. You need to know this. This is why she's telling you this. She goes, listen, I'm not pregnant. I don't have a sister, but thank you for anyway, for trying. Okay. I just delivered the mail. End of story. Didn't charge her for the aspect of mediumship, just for the massage. But year and a half later, she sent me a lengthy email with photographs of her child next to her best friend's, who's like a sister, whose heart was born on the outside. They were 2
Oh
weeks,
my goodness.
weeks apart in birth, and her heart was on the outside, and she'd already had a dozen surgeries and had another half a dozen to go. But she said her best friend never mentally, emotionally would have survived this, and she did not know that this baby was going to thrive. So that was powerful.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's amazing. That's amazing. But the question, how did the Italians sound again? You said they were like bobbity bobbity bobbity.
Italian
I knew
guy.
it.
He's great.
Yeah.
But he got a perfect English, cute as button, and shook my hand. And the woman's like, I'm so sorry. I go, no, you were just doing your job. She goes, I go, I understand. Don't worry about it.
She came right back on.
At least, if anything, it helped him to feel, like he really connected to his wife.
Well, Italian guy's not going to let you know anything right off the bat. I will speak for Italian. I speak for Italian Americans. I am a full Italian American on both sides of my family. So that's kind of like C'è un albero. It's an invaso.
Oh, you're just showing
the trees in the vase. The vase, how you want to say it. Now, what about the fact that maybe you pulled the Back to the Future move and you changed the way the world was going to work out by telling this girl this? And she's like, no, I'm not going to have a baby. We're not going to have babies. And she goes home and she's like, oh, let's fool around. Let's just see what happens. How do you know you didn't change things?
Well, 2 weeks after she left my appointment, her husband insisted she take a pregnancy test. She was already pregnant. So there's no way that I could have created that. Although it's a legit question. Also, I didn't know the Italian man's last name. When they come in for a reading, I never get last names to prove it. I also record it for you so that you've got me on tape telling you this, and that holds me accountable. But with the massage, I do have last names, but again, I couldn't have predicted in advance that she was pregnant. She didn't even know.
What was the Sharpie for?
It brings me back into focus. When the camera goes off focus, you have to get the focus on something and bring it back to yourself.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my God.
I missed what she said. Did you hear what she said?
You didn't look out of focus.
Oh,
Yeah, you didn't look out of focus.
I feel out of focus. How about that?
Out of focus.
You know why?
Well, that's something else.
Sarah, can I say something to me? So I think it's either 23 years ago or it's 25 years ago, and I can't remember, that I had the Montreal flip, which was my buddy's driving home from Canada. I'm in the passenger seat, no seatbelt. He's going really fast because he did something he shouldn't have done, and he's feeling guilty about it. And he hit the brake, and it fishtailed once on the highway. Now, I don't even know Canada's highways. There's only there's 3 lanes, 4 lanes, but there's houses that are along the highway. So, I'm like, dude, slow down. And he's one of those guys, you tell him to slow down, he goes faster. So we fishtailed again, and he just said, I have no control. And we went sideways across oncoming traffic, missed the lady's house, hit the snowbank, and we flipped the car. And the car ended up on its side. He woke up behind the driving wheel, let go, fell on my face. And that's the only thing that cut me, broke me. It cut me up here. But I actually got to stand up out of a car that was sideways, like a whack-a-mole. Like I just popped up out of it.
It was like a feeling.
Yeah, that was such a moment. This day, always, every year, because it's his birthday. I remember rolling and seeing dimes and stuff go around like a washing machine. Does that make sense? Like it was slow motion to me. Like, and I had no seatbelt. I grabbed that emergency bar, the old bar.
Oh, shit bar.
And I grabbed the side of the chair. I literally kept myself tucked like this. My shoulder forever, like, not that I was going to be a pitcher, but like was messed up. And I wouldn't go to the hospital because it was only in French. No one spoke English at the hospital they took us to, and I'm not doing that. It'd
There's
be like,
nothing wrong with speaking French, by the way.
no, but if I don't speak it, I don't want you to work on me. We're gonna have miscommunication there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've heard bad stories about miscommunications in hospitals. I don't want no part of that.
So did you have any kind of experience in that flip as far as like spiritually?
Oh, it changed me a lot. That like I never wore seatbelts, and I always wore seatbelts, and then I never did certain things like this. But now I started to check more. I just became more I don't know,
Cognizant?
watchful. Yeah, I paid
Mm.
more attention. I was more like, no, you got to pay attention. Like in other words, when things start, because I was in a band for 13 years, so when things get out of control, they get out of control. You let them go. But I realized in that moment that sometimes I gotta just reach over and like slap him upside the head and be like, dude, drive the car. Like, be really like in other words, take control of it. I should have threatened them. Like, dude, drive the car, I'm gonna kill you. Like, that's what I should have done so we didn't flip. But I was just like, dude, can you slow down? Like, I was half-assed telling him, just like, you can't do that. You gotta just take control of it or you could flip. So yeah, I guess it did change me in that way. Sorry, I just went on that tangent, but
I was
Whoa, okay.
I was driving on the highway one time, and I had received a phone call, and I've often helped people in recovery from drugs and alcohol. And there was somebody who was admittedly ODing on heroin. And so I was flying to Dorchester to try to help them. And I'm going down 95 South and heading toward Route 3 to head that way. And, and I was normal speed, but it was middle of the day. And I'm in the fast lane. And there's
in the fast lane.
Yeah, there's an overpass in front of me approaching. And so a car came up and was just to my right rear, but I looked ahead past the bridge, and a truck had pulled over, and there were big industrial pallets in the fast lane. Now, if I didn't get out of the fast lane, I saw myself hitting that, flipping the car up into the side of the bridge abutment, and bridge. And I was like, I have to do something fast, right? Well, the car beside me had pulled up in such a way that I had to slow down and get in front of them because it was like my only choice to avoid the pallets. This car was blacked out. I couldn't see through the windshield or through the side windows or the rear windows, all blacked out. It almost looked like, something straight out of Men in Black. But I all of a sudden, I am getting out of the way in the nick of time, right? And I get past the pallets. I'm like shaking. That guy whoever was in that vehicle went and he like maneuvered in such a way that forced me to move over, only to take the next exit ramp, and was gone right after the abutment. So I called that divine intervention, because I thought I would have been dead that day, but I made it in time to save that kid's life. And so, when I arrived, it was ugly. He had a needle hanging out of his arm and whatnot, but got him the help he needed at the time. So it was just like crazy. But I've had things like that happen, those near-death kind of experiences where did I see God? Did I see an angel? No, but I knew it changed me. It made me realize there's something working here, and they're working through me. And so they were making sure by divine intervention that I made it there that day. And I did. So that similar for you, Mike. You weren't meant to go that day, but it changed you.
Sarah, do you ever die in your sleep, Sarah?
Do I die in my sleep? No, I don't necessarily die, but I do visit other places, and I do speak other languages in my sleep.
Me too. Germany. I think it was Germany.
So I don't necessarily die, but I do see other things that I know that I should not, being here present in little old Rhode Island, speaking English, I should not be able to do, but I do it.
No, I mean, do you ever get killed in your dreams?
No.
No, it happens a lot to me. It happens a lot.
Nope, I never get killed in my dreams. I do have dreams where people have died, and I know that they should not be there. One of my friends visits me often, and he has passed away, and he'll visit me in my dreams. And I'm like, and I have conversations, and I'll wake up and I'll say, I'm so glad he came to me today. But Nope, I do not die and I do not fall. I don't have those dreams where you fall. I don't have those dreams.
The Elephant Man changed my whole way of dreaming. Like I had nightmares as a kid for a long time, so I stopped my dreams. Like I direct my dreams. Like I have dreams
You
where I
can do
die.
that.
Yeah, no,
You can do that.
I'm just about to die all the time, but the crash, spinning out of control, and I always go no, and then it's a different dream. But like I'm
Dreamy
always
David
really
Barr would
close to
tell you
dying.
about that. Yeah.
Huh?
Mike, can I
Dreamy David Barr. He'll talk about that with you.
you
He's
gave
all about dreams.
you gave me some thoughts about that. I used to have this dream about this girl named Carrie, and she was a real character, a real person. But she was the passenger in the seat, and I was driving the car. But in the dream, I drove off a cliff, and it was per her instruction. But I drove off the cliff, and I was floating in midair, and I heard her say, "I'm so sorry to do this to you." I ended the friendship soon after that.
Ooh, you didn't want to drive her off the cliff?
No, she was instructing me to do it, and I did it, and I took it as like, you need to get away from her. I had multiple dreams like that with involving her, but her deceased loved one came to me in a dream and told me she was a ball and chain on my ankle, and if I didn't break free, I would never reach my full potential.
Wow, ball and chain.
Yeah.
That's
And
tough one.
Well, I mean, that's serious business. I think that there's an element of understanding and kind of accepting what these dreams are telling you, and it's a message, whether or not you take it to heart or not. Like again, seeing loved ones who have passed away, and you know that nobody else can see them in the dream that you're in. You're in an environment, a gathering or a party, and you know that nobody else can see them but you. And that's a visit, or you can actually have something as ominous or as telling as that person's a ball and chain, get away from them.
so Sarah, you mentioned like I call it astral travel, but at that I was sleeping, and all of a sudden I'm in Germany, and I was in the back of what appeared to be an outdoor classroom, and everybody was seated outside, and there was an instructor, and he was speaking in this foreign language, and they're all being instructed
Just clinkety clankety, right?
ish like that, and they
Hmm.
know the language, but they all started to turn around and see me there, and I went, oh, and I woke up. And I was intending to astral travel. That's why I believe it was.
Oh, did you have lederhosen on?
No, but I did have an astral travel app on, and it was through calm.com.
Calm.com. Oh, we both said that. Weird.
Yeah, it's a weird name. Weird name. That's another weird. That goes in my list of weird website names.
Yeah,
calm.com.
meditations and things like that. But yeah, but in there is astral travel, and they have the megahertz and the things like that for healing that you could listen to. But to me, some of those tones are a lot.
You know Michelle Fried, right?
The name.
Michelle Fried's from was on the Art Bell show at the end. She teaches astral projection. She wanted me to go to a class that's that projection type stuff. I told her I told her my brain's too sleepy.
My works.
My brain's too sleepy.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with having a sleepy brain.
No.
Just really tired.
No, you got to play stupid. It's better to play stupid, right? And then let people show who they really are. Because that's just the best way to handle. That's an Italian way of handling people. We don't talk.
I was just going to say that's an Italian.
I'm more. I do try to be my authentic self, I guess is the cliche, but it's like, I speak my mind. If it's going to hurt your feelings, I will refrain, but not if it's in your best interest. And who am I to judge that? I don't know. It's usually intuition, but I will always speak my truth if I can, in most situations.
Right. I do the same.
That's a tough one, Sarah. You do that too. You tell people stuff they don't want to hear.
Yeah,
I do.
Well, I love
I do.
you.
I love. My husband said, "Go ahead."
I love your honesty, your frankness about.
Frank, yes. So my husband said I was doing a virtual session here at home one day, and my husband came in, and he was in the background. He wasn't listening. And then when I was done with my session, he said to me, he goes, "You tell people some really awful stuff sometimes." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I just kind of heard, don't do this, don't do that." And I said, "I don't do that all the time." And he's like, "No, but the way I'm hearing it, it's like, what are you telling these people? It's the truth. It's affirmation for them sometimes. That's why we didn't do that. That's why we did do that. Whatever the case may be. It's not a negative thing if you take it in the right context, right?" So he's like, "Wow, I don't know. I don't know if I would want that." I'm like,
It is,
"Well, that's why I don't read you."
yeah,
So,
it is kind of funny how, like, there's a lot people will, I don't want to hear that I'm going to get hit by a bus. I'm like, I don't want to hear that either, but
mhm,
if they tell me that, I'm going to tell you. I'm not a fear
mhm,
person, and if it's fear based, I will triple check before I deliver something. But there was an occasion where a woman was coming to me for a reading, and the minute she walked through the door, I knew it was domestic violence going on for her. And
Oof.
I started talking to her, and I was like, "Listen, there's a situation. I feel like, she was in danger." And she had 3 kids, she had pets. So I was
mhm,
not surprised. Sometimes it's not always like they led her to me. I believe that spiritually she
mhm,
come to me, but I didn't end up doing a reading. What I ended up doing was connecting her to a domestic violence advocacy program that I'm familiar with, and was able to get her the Underground Railroad to move many, many states away, have a job, a home,
mhm.
get all of her stuff there with under the cover of night, so to speak. And she's safe and away from the guy who literally was going to kill her and her,
Isn't that crazy?
and take
That's
the ones that were. So it was like, what?
Sometimes that happens within our lives, especially being that we do work in the metaphysical, is that we know things that we should not know. We don't know the implications. We don't know how in depth they can be, but what we deliver in the messages are, we deliver them with as much, as much couth as we can. But we know, you
Yeah,
know,
bedside manner.
to, yes, yes, and it's hard, and a lot of people in this profession lack that because they're looking for clout, they're looking for likes, they're looking for whatever, and you get those people that you really know handle you with kid gloves and have compassion and empathy. It's part of the job.
I have to tell you, I teach mediumship, right? And I know you teach tarot and stuff. Well, I had this woman call me up. She was not my student, but she wanted me to give her the opportunity for her to give me a reading and critique it. She would even pay for the visit. Okay. So she came
Mhm,
and started, oh my God, Mike, you know, sorry, I'm going to get hyperventilating to explain how she did this. But she closed her eyes and she started going like this, right? Now, I'm not even kidding you. Her eyes were closed and she was hyperventilating like this. And I'm like, oh my God, is she like having a stroke? What the fuck is wrong with her? And then she goes, I see your father is in darkness and this woman is trying to reach him and she can't reach him from the other side, and because he's here on the earth plane. And I'm like, stop. My father's in spirit. He's not on the earth plane. There is no woman trying to reach him. Trust me on that one. And I said, like, seriously, dude, all of this is not going to fly. I don't know who,
wow.
but if you want to be a medium, I'm going to tear that house down and we're going to build from the foundation up, because what you're doing there is one trick pony and I am not buying it. She goes, okay, thank you. Can I try again? She did the same thing. I go, listen, we're done. Do you want to learn? Do you really want to learn? She left, right? Said she'd come to the class. She never did. One of my students confessed that she only does phone readings, makes you pay in advance. And then she does that, like, whatever. Yeah,
You
not even
you
you.
can hear her on the phone, then away from the phone. Yeah, phone, be around. She's just dizzy. She's just dizzy. That's why
Oh,
she's saying this stuff.
she said she paid her and she started and she wasn't legit, and then she just hung up on her and she wouldn't give her money or anything like that. And I said, these are the ones giving us bad names, but
Mm,
it's a good experience. She had opportunity to be better. She chose not to. That's on her, you know?
Yeah.
But she wasn't fooling me. I was like, dude, what the is that? You know? When seriously, Mike and Sarah knows,
What?
I've had people coming to me that want to hear from somebody very seriously because they're genuinely concerned for their soul, because unbeknownst to me, they died of an overdose. As it turns out, that comes through in a reading, and the soul of the loved one does show up, and he says to the guy sitting across from me, physically present, that it was because of him that he crossed over. Because if he could pray for him the way he does, and in my mind, he showed me a cell phone with a Catholic cross on it. And I go, he's telling me you said a Catholic prayer every minute of every day for him. And if you could do that for him, then he must be worthy of that light. And he decided to cross. And that's why he can come through now and talk to you through me, because I talk to those in light. And so, you know, previous to that, grandmother had been coming through for all the other family members wanting to hear from him. But this guy came in, and this guy in spirit then came in, because this guy actually prayed for him and he crossed. He chose to cross. But what he needed to know, and what all the family needed to know, was that he did cross, and that it was not intentional. The overdose was not intentional. This person did not mean to die that day, and he regrets that. And so he was like, can you tell my mother this? Can you tell my father this? Can you tell my siblings this? And this man delivered all that mail. He later contacted me and said that it changed all their lives. And so that, to me, for the better, all of that made it worth it. But there's no way I could know the things that I know. And well,
You guys get two reactions. This is the reaction. I either walk away like, how did they know that? That there's that shock, but there's also the that medium. They know I'm not gonna get hit by no car. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, you must get those, because I'm telling you.
Well, like that woman who was pregnant and didn't know it. Oh yeah, she was very kind about it. But you know, I've had other people who are just like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. And then
You need a secret camera when records them walking to their car.
I'll be honest with you, and I'm sure Angela will agree with me. Andrew, totally. I know you know this. People will be like, poo, yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And then they're compelled to contact you later and tell you that it did happen, because they're like, I can't believe you said this, but so and so did call me. I did get that job. We did have a baby. We did go to Spain. Whatever, you know, all of those.
That's
things.
Back to the Future. That's Back to the Future-ish.
Well,
you see what I mean? Like, there's a fine line here, because you just set her on a path that you don't talk to her.
But if they negate what you say, right, and they're like, that's never going to happen, you're like, okay, well, this is what it says here. This is what it says here and here. Like, this is what it's saying. So you
but that's how some
to,
people learn.
And you can take that information and make it yours, or you could throw it away. Doesn't bother me, whatever you do. I wish you the best. I'm going to send you love and light no matter what happens. But then time passes, things go on. They don't think about the reading, and then they go, boom, oh my God, I can't believe she told me that. Totally happened. I got the job the way that she said I was going to get it. I did this the way that, we don't have that ability to say we're changing it. You have free will. You take whatever I'm saying now, and you can be like, she's full of shit. Or
Mike is saying that we give information and they create it from that information.
So check it. Something's not real until I write it down. Once I write it down, now that's kind of real. And then all of a sudden it becomes a real thing. So if I say something to you, especially if it makes you mad and you're like, no, disagree completely, that's actually something that I'll remember more than if I agreed with you. So I could be walking along and then something could happen and I could go, and put everything together in my head and be like, I'm just telling you, there's two sides of this that I always wonder about. Like, is it that you're supposed to plant it in their heads? Is that kind of what it is? Or is it that?
No,
is that you
it's
with swords, Sarah? Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's not that you're supposed to implant it within their head. It's supposed to so readings are supposed to clarify and give affirmation in certain ways. Never are we supposed to predict a future, because we as human beings have something called free will. So what we can do with that free will is entirely up to us. If I say tomorrow I want to dye my hair dark and whatever, then that's my own free will to do that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where it's coming from. It's within my own self assessment that I feel like I want to do that. When you seek out information about where you are within your life, whether it's educational, whether it's mediumship or psychic power, whether it's massage therapy, whether it's a podcast, you are inviting any of this energy in to do whatever you will. It's up to you whether you want to take it and do something with it or entirely leave it behind.
Yes.
Thank you. So if you said, Mike, you're gonna have a problem with flight, with birds of flight, and then a bird shits on me like a week later, I'm gonna go, oh, son of a bitch, that's what she meant. Now, that might not be what you meant at all, but what I'm trying to say is
we
when
don't
you say
necessarily know exactly what it is. That's
but like
the
you're
message.
giving them information they didn't have prior. So you're like putting something into their world that was never there as far as they knew cognitively. Like you put it in their head. So they're going, oh, all right. But that's now logged in their head. So I'm not saying like what you're saying. What I'm trying to say is maybe maybe what you're supposed to be doing is putting that in their head or helping them. Like, because in other words, kids can do stuff in basketball that we didn't know we could do when I played basketball in high school. I didn't know you could just put it through your legs, go around your back. I would have tried that, but I didn't know anyone could do it. I never saw anyone do it before. So until
You
I
never
hear
saw the
something,
Harlem
I don't-
Globetrotters?
no, come on, dude. My son has got to cross up with the right one hand. Like, you know what I mean? It's different. Like until you see something done, you didn't know it could be done. So, Angela, did you get what I'm saying? Like it's both, I guess, right? It's you're hearing what you're hearing, but it's also meant. I mean, right? You're hearing it, so they
Well,
change what's going on.
Can I just interject 1 second? There is that school of thought that there's really no such thing as a coincidence. We're all put in certain places for whatever reason, right? So if you think about that, the reason why somebody is sitting in right, and the reason why somebody is sitting in front of me talking to me or Angela about what's going on in their life, so that they can get some sort of garner some sort of clarity or perspective as to what's happening. There's a reason for it. So whether or not we're supposed to implant some of those ideals or help them manifest certain things, so be it. It's part of it. Does that make sense to you?
So for me, I've, like that client who was pregnant, I couldn't have known that. And so I can't like predict the future there, but their loved one was telling me that. That's different.
Well,
so,
you didn't do a massage checkup, did you? You weren't like rubbing the belly and nothing, right?
But in the regard, he's just being regarding psychic, doing the into the past, present, future stuff. It is, I always say to my clients, there's divine will and there's free will. Divine will is that the sun rises and sets every day. We can't change it. It's still happening whether we see it or not. That's something we can't wish away or hope for or pray about. It happens. You may not see it, but it happens, like on rainy days. But it's still happening, and we know that scientifically. But on the sort of free will side, I will show them. I often say to my clients that if there's this obstacle that's in front of you, they're going to tell me how you can be like the water. And the water doesn't have to climb over the mountain. It doesn't have to go all the way around the mountain. The water is trying to find the easiest path through. So it's looking for the cracks to make it. The universe is, the psychic.
Bruce Lee.
The psychic future and the universe is really looking to help you help yourself. It is free will for you to choose to take that crack. If you want to climb that friggin' mountain, you go right ahead. They'll support you the whole way. They'll throw you a rope. They'll give you the thing to get up there. But they're telling you the whole time it's easier to take this path through here. But we're just too dense to listen sometimes.
Right.
Most
and then
of
the
time.
folks like us are the messengers.
Yes.
We don't necessarily, we have no implication either way if you decide to do X, Y, or Z. We're just the conduit. We're just giving you the information we have. So there's no benefit for us if you do not do or do whatever it is that's been said.
One more thing I want to add. I had a client come to me telling me she wanted a medium reading. The minute I start to connect to her father, she flips out. I mean, screams at me my stomach flips. I'm like, what? And she goes, I don't want to talk to him. He was terrible to me. I'm like, okay, let me see who else is here. Stop bringing through another family member. She has the same reaction. I said, listen, were you really here for mediumship? And she goes, listen, I just want to know if I'm going to get what I want from my parents' will. I said, hold on. This is all about money and a sibling with the estate. Okay. And I'm like, I got it. Hold on. Let me check. I was like, intuitively, I could see a house on the water at the ocean. It felt like the Cape. So I said, is that the house you're talking about? And she goes, yeah. And I said, okay, you're going to get that house. And that's what I felt. She was going to get that house. She said her brother was fighting her. I said, doesn't matter. You're getting the house. Now, Mike, on that note, she could have went in with this sheer energy of knowing and determination. And could that emotionally sway anything? Maybe, but she did get the house. And it is down the Cape on the
I don't get why you would go there to find out if you're getting the house from your parents' will, but not want to speak with your parents.
Happens all the time.
How does it even make sense?
Happens all the time.
I don't want to speak to them. I just wanted them to answer a question.
Yeah, it happens.
She didn't
all
want
the time.
She just wanted the place. But the thing is that she wasn't ready for the healing. And I did give her the education that her parents showed up because they have healed. They can't come to me unless they're in the light. That's my agreement. So I said, if they've come to you here today, they have learned the value of their ways and what they have done, and they're trying to make amends and make peace and support. But she wasn't ready. So
you guys have to pull yourselves out of it completely, like your personalities, because my personality would have been like, yeah, your dad's here and he's telling you you're not in the will. just she's being rude. I'd be like, yeah, he's here, he's saying you're not in the will.
I don't know. She was lovely, but she had come to me because her sister got the diamond watch and she got the diamond earrings, and she wanted the diamond watch. Her mother showed up as a full apparition. I could tell you she was wearing a yellow polo shirt, blue khaki shorts. Her hair was that 80s coiffed yellow dyed like hair. It was her mother.
Brady Bunch.
Yeah, she was standing right there, and then I was wearing a blinged a fake diamond watch, and she kept drawing me to it, and I said, like, there's a diamond watch, and that's how I knew, because she highlighted and everything kept blinging off my watch, and I was like, she keeps drawing me to my watch. And so she admitted that she wanted that watch, but after I told her, I was like, no, she wanted you to have the diamond earrings. The woman flipped out on me. She's like, I want the watch. I go, listen, don't shoot the messenger. I said, your mother gave you the earrings because that's what she wanted you to have. Your sister gets the watch. She was so pissed. She left. Now she comes to me for massages. And a while later, she was there for a massage. And I said, hey, can I give you another reading? She's like, sure. Now she's face down on the table.
What does she want this time?
I have a candle across the room, and it was lit, but it went out. And I knew. I go, listen, your mother's here. She wants to know why you didn't light the candle today. She burst into tears. Every Friday, she would light a candle in memory of her mother. She didn't do it that way because she said she was not going to do it anymore because she was trying to move forward. She was trying to live her life, and she felt like she was still grieving if she did that. And her mother's like, in spirit, like, listen, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a simple thing. I don't care if it's at the temple. Just light a candle in my memory.
Light a candle.
Yeah, just light a candle in my memory and all. And she's like, I promise. But it was a lot for her. Like, so.
You guys deal with a lot of families, like that kind of stuff, that will stuff, because that's going to be the worst. That brings out the worst in people that ever, like, my mom passed away. Me and my two brothers just even getting the ashes done. I didn't even want to hear the conversation. I'm like, you guys keep the urn, whatever you want to keep. I'm out.
And Sarah, I want to know if you this. What draws to me is what's happening in my own life. When I was going through a divorce, I had a lot of divorcees looking for help. When I was in a difficult relationship, I had a lot of women, and that's when that woman came for that domestic assault. Like, it's weird, but like right now, I have a mom who's not so healthy, disabled. Like, a lot of people coming to me asking about their mothers, and when some people, when they're going to die, I'm like, listen, you don't need to know that information. Enjoy while you have her.
I do notice, but I don't see it being a parallel to my life, but I see that coming through with my clientele. Like, oh, well, there's a lot of, people who are separating. There's a lot of people who are looking for new jobs. There's a lot of people, like, it'll come in waves in certain facets, but not necessarily a parallel to my life. But I tend to, and this might make sense to you too, Ange, is like you might pick up the same sentiments or cards or situations. You're like, oh my God, I just talked about this last week, but it's right here for you too. Like, all of those same things end up coming up. So again, it's kind of like that. It's that just that wave that keeps
because
kind of
it's
flowing.
you, not the cards, right? The energy's
Yes,
coming from you, not
yes,
the cards. So
yes.
whatever you
The
have
cards
going
just
on,
The cards
for
are,
me, the cards just help.
yeah, they're just a visual tool.
Mhm.
You're the conduit, and the energy flows to and through you, and the person that you're reading as well. So I call it a three-way conversation.
the party
Yeah.
line back in the 80s would be like
Yeah.
$6 an hour or a minute. Or
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
The party line.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Well,
So Ange, what do you have going on? What can
So-
we talk about?
I do a lot of group parties. Like, I go to people's homes, and I'll do like platform style mediumship or private individuals. I certainly see them in my office. I teach classes both on Reiki and on mediumship development. And I intern massage students, but I still do massage. I'm actually gearing up for July 14th at Zuzu's Healing Arts. She's doing an expo at the Doubletree Hotel in Danvers.
Say it again.
There's an expo,
Okay, say the name.
Zuzu's, as in Zuzu's Petals. Do you remember that from It's a Wonderful
Yeah, that's why I want to hear you say it.
Yeah.
Zuzu's.
Pedal.
healingarts.com is her website.
Wow, that's it. Zuzu'sHealingArts.com.
It's actually a physical store. She has like crystals and all the sage and she's got it all in readers and stuff. But she's wonderful. She's very fae-like herself. But she does this big expo. Literally thousands of people come to it. There are lots of readers, healers, vendors, musicians, things like that. It's like it's so good. She even sets up like coloring area for the kids so that the moms and dads can go shopping. But there are 3 keynote speakers every time that are free as part of it, that are scheduled, so you can go and see that. But I'll be doing readings for 8 hours. Thank you.
Wow. Do you ever burn the eye of a newt?
I have not.
I don't know why I said that, but I've heard that a lot with witches.
You
They
know,
burn
the eye of a
burn
newt.
the eye of a newt? Why would we
Oh,
burn
look it up. Google it. It's got to do with witches. I know it does.
someone said to me, "Are you a witch?" And I never identified as a witch. And they're like, "Well, do you have crystals? Yes. Do you have sage? Yes. Do you burn candles with intention? Yes. Do you
Fly on a broom?
you
Yes.
go out and like do this in nature? Do you
Yes.
all this?" I'm like, "Yes." Do you go to paranormal? Yes. Do you read? Yes. I'm like, oh shit.
She's a witch. She's a witch. They all come out of nowhere.
But
We told you.
now I have to tell you that a witch in the Bible is a medium by definition.
Yep.
The witches
A soothsayer.
Yep, the Witches of Endor is a story in the Bible about the king, and he actually vanquished all the witches from the town or whatever. And then when it came to wartime, he sought one out, and she knew he was undercover and called him out. And he's like, "I won't punish you if you just give me the advice." And she did.
Yep. It's because
See?
men, we believe in it. We just don't want them to know more than us.
Yes.
So get out of here. But if we need to know something, we'll let you know.
We're coming back into the world of women. Yay!
So what do you think, Mike? You have more questions?
No, I could question. Look, we're already past the hour. I could, yeah. No, of course I have more questions, but I'm not going to ask them. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm respecting your time limit.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. No, I mean, this has been great. We should do this again.
Yeah.
I love all of the stories that you have, and I think that it brings things to light because we all work differently. We all have different modalities that we use, but the sentiment or the level of what it looked like, the baseline is all there, and it's very similar.
Yeah, and the intention just to help people,
Exactly. And having you, Mike, has been incredible. Thank you for being a co-host with me. So Angela's will be at Zuzu's
Healing
Expo in
Danvers at the Double L, and that's on 14th. It's a Sunday, and
Double
10 to 5. What?
Is it the DoubleTree Hotel? You ever hear the Mitch Hedberg joke on that? When they were getting together? Let's call it Tree. Nah, let's call it DoubleTree. Okay. And he's like, oh, I was hoping for Triple-Tree. Never mind. Mitch Hedberg.
I love him. I love
hilarious.
him.
Yeah.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
Oh yeah.
But yes. But anyway, thank you so much for being on. It was a roller coaster of fun, and we'll have to do this again for sure. But if you are looking to book, did you put her info down at the banner?
No, I did not. I do it. I can do it now as you talk, though. It's called. Hold on,
A Better Place Massage and Mediumship. She does have a website. You can contact her via her phone number as well. He's putting it down there. Here he comes. Here he comes.
It is. I just, when you have to type under pressure.
A Better Place Medium.
What's the number?
508-333-1933.
Wow. You like those threes, huh, Mike?
Address is 2 North.
Yeah, Tesla, 3 6s and 9s. Yeah. I do.
He loves those. He loves those. Anyway, thank you so much for being on. Definitely going to have you in the future. Mike, thank you for being with me today.
You didn't ask what I got going on. Why does no one ever ask? No one ever asked. Mike, what do you got going on? No one's, not once in 3 years has anyone gone, but Mike, by the way, what do you got coming up?
What do you got coming up?
What do you have coming up?
Nothing.
And that's why we don't ask.
Well, actually,
but anyway,
you got to produce, yo.
Yeah. Follow us, legitpodcast.com, spell it out. And we are also on the Parapost Network as well. So we would love to see all of you like, subscribe, follow Angela, follow me, follow Big, all of us, King Michael, Star Paranormal, you name it.
We do 12 shows a week, 12 live podcasts a week. I think I host like 4, 5, 6.
You host them all.
5?
You're
too
always
many.
around.
Too many. I'll say too many.
How
about that? I'm going to go on the limb and say too many.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
Thank you very much.